Good evening. Good evening. Just wanted to reflect on the results today from Tanzania, where the president has won elections by a landslide, really, 98%. And it looks like the 2% were spoiled votes. And this is a country where the opposition were locked out of the elections. And there has been massive protest as a result of those elections. And the president wants to claim that the elections were free and fair, and that because of that, she has actually won the majority of the votes, and that he has a mandate to lead the country for another 5 years. Yeah, it defeats all logic, defeats all ethics, defeats all sense. We don't know what's happening, but what I know, there is a problem in Tanzania, and there is a problem in the whole of Africa when it comes to elections and when it comes to leadership and transparency in that leadership. We should reflect that leadership in any country is about providing services. So you don't have to be there, you don't have to be a leader, you don't have to be a president. But if you're given that mandate of being a president, I think the fundamental thing should be to serve the country. And when your time comes the end, live peacefully so that the country remains intact, so that it can also serve the interests of your countrymen and the future generations. But we have a problem of leadership in Africa, not only in contemporary Africa, but also uh, Africa from its independence. Many countries have faced leadership that try to cling to power or try to find other unjust means of remaining in power. So we look at Tanzania and what has been happening in Tanzania. The president got a mandate because of the passing of the previous president, John Magufuli, and therefore she was not elected as such. She served that term peacefully, and the country largely cooperated with her, supported her in all that she did. What she needed to do was to pass over the country in a state in which she got it, in a state in which she was given. But what has happened because of some kind of selfishness or either ignorance, or you can call it plain stupidity if you don't want to go about looking for nicer terms to focus on it. She's leaving a country in chaos. And the mandate that she claims now of 98% is not going to lead to anything as such. You cannot rule a people when they clearly do not support you, when they clearly do not want you to be their leader. You can claim that majority of 100%, but from what we can see, it's obvious that wherever that number was plucked from does not represent reality. It is a fabrication. Maybe the elections were held in mass and transported back to Tanzania. But then, recently, we buried a very, very prominent man in Africa, Raila Amolo Odinga, or Baba. And what he represented and what he stood for was that claim to legitimacy, especially in terms of electoral process. Because if we need to understand what the government is, the government comes into being because all of us cannot govern ourselves. And therefore, we decide that we are going to have a sovereign or somebody who leads us, who guides us, and we give them the authority, we give them the tools of governance, we give them the power. But it doesn't mean that we as citizens are powerless as such. It just means that okay, we've left somebody in charge there, but that somebody has to still be accountable, has still to be answerable to the people, and there is no escaping that. There is no escaping that. Thank you.